It's March 25th, 2023. Harassment's still going on. Believe it or not, people give up and they give up when they realize it's just them stealing from the case to pay for human trafficking. And they're going to end up being registered sex offenders after they get out of prison, if they actually get out of prison their whole life. They run around, like last night. I went out to eat with my brother. He goes ahead and pulls out. I see this guy with, whatever woman he's with. I go to leave, and he's out there running his mouth. He was up there watching me. You know what's really scary, too? I had went down to stay with my sister Pam in 21, and I came back the next day. She couldn't handle this, and it was too much. Okay? My brother-in-law, strangest kid, showed up at my brother's house after 30 years. Hadn't been there since his wedding. He didn't even recognize him. He was like, "Can I help you?" "Oh, hi." Then he starts following him around, showing up in gas station. He looked at him and said, "Are you stalking me?" I said, "Pete, they were looking for me. They didn't realize I went back to my own apartment." He's like, "Is that why he kept showing up?" He said, "After I accused him of stalking, he didn't show back up." Well, I got home, and some lying old man that's part of this, he yelled out, "They called down here and asked us what's going on." And we told her, "We already found her guilty." How can people fall for it? They're not going to just take his word for it. I've never been questioned of wrongdoing. I've never been prosecuted. I've never been found guilty. This whole thing's a scam. He's in that agent that picked up my case out of his area. They already know that Dave knew him before the case. They know that Dave was dating his daughter. They know he told on me the night before I returned his call. They know he bullied me into saying I was lying when I wasn't under a threat arrest. They knew I wasn't lying. And they know he bullied me into that. When I tried to tell what happened at Huntington Bank, was there a camera above you when you were sitting on that bench? I don't know. See, he asked me a question I wouldn't know. He purposely let the kidnapper go. That's in it with the human trafficking gang that's grabbing people. He purposely let him go. He purposely bullied me. He purposely, when he listed me informant, the money, the diplomatic immunity, then threatened me again if I said something. He can't put a gag order on me. He's not a sitting judge. He can't do any of this. He opened up that account. He stole it. They know he stole all the money, and he did this on purpose to defraud the government of federal funds. And he was in debt to those drug dealers, and he's in the human trafficking group. He needs to go to jail. I've been trying, when I do see my kids, to just give them a little bit at a time besides just throwing everything at their feet. It's like, well, I hope they get that stalker that got high and came in and confessed, but they kicked at my door, and they were supposed to have button cameras, photoshopping shower scenes, and where, all those giant bruises, they were roofing me. They're supposed to be beating me. They said, I told them, I said, all those giant bruises, I was getting sick and throwing up, that they were roofing me. I hope they get him. Well, he's probably long gone after he confessed. I said, I went to the Portage County Sheriff's. They knew nothing. They just looked at me. They didn't know they were in my home. Well, of course not. It was done by a stalker. Because police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life. And they have to speak to everyone before they start, or it's abuse, misconduct, and illegal search and seizure. The Fourth Amendment. So trying to let them realize, slowly, do you realize, well, they have a shower scene in the other room of me. That means they have porn of them and of my grandkids using the bathroom. And they're probably selling it. They're sex trafficking. They're human trafficking people to be sex slaves or murdered. They're treating people like they're cattle. They need to be in federal prison the rest of their life, and that agent needs to go down too. He stole over $377,000 for my case. And this was set up by him, Dave, and those drug dealers. They all need to go to jail. He wasn't even allowed to be over my case But he opened the case and he had an officer speak to Dave because that's what it took to be in somebody's home. I was watching this one show. These officers removed a stamp without a search warrant, or they had a search warrant and they didn't notify them that they removed everything so they could have an attorney and to represent them for anything they found. The defense attorney said this is a severe Fourth Amendment violation. And then they said something else and said that's another Fourth Amendment violation. And the judge looked at him and said, I concur. The case is thrown out. See, there's a constitution. The way they're trying to tell people it's a communist country. It's not. They try to tell people I have charges. I've never been questioned. I've never been accused. I've never been prosecuted. I have nothing against me. I just passed another FBI background check 2 months ago. They just lie. I got home from eating with my brother. Some old man's out there. We told them that we already placed charges on her and found her guilty. Or we already found her guilty. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Because there's no court doc of any trial, no sitting judge finding me guilty with a trial date. There's nothing. There's no Miranda rights. There's no somebody sitting down with me in person. They made the whole thing up to cover up where they kicked in my door, were breaking in, roofing me, date rape drugging me so I'm sleepwalking, and then breaking, they put a shower scene in the other room. They're just lying. That's why I call them the Pinocchio group. The liar, liar, pants on fire call. Someone needs to put them in jail. They're extremely dangerous. People have disappeared. People have lost loved ones. I'm not their only victim. You know, and they lied on the Portage County sheriffs. They were involved. They had nothing to do with it. Dear God, they'd end up in jail. A sitting judge would arrest anybody involved in this. They're going to be registered sex offenders. They're rapists. They're human traffickers. They've got kiddie porn of my grandkids in the bathroom. They're in a lot of trouble. Human trafficking people, attempt to murder. They're in a lot of trouble. That agent wanted to put his name on. Oh, and he's embezzled $377,000. And they're breaking in Walmart under tape and audio. They're using the case for human trafficking. Sick son of a bitch. You know, I go to stores where they made fun of my one coworker that they had took her family member and laughed at her. They tied her up and cut her in pieces. They probably did. And it's like, I'm so sorry. Now they show up and mock me that they did it to her. It's not my fault. I know that. But how dare it use my case to kill and hurt people? And how dare these people run around thinking it's funny hurting victims? I was in Walmart 62 2 days ago. Some guys walking, I'm in the hair salon, and they said, we heard it's a lawless society down here, pretty much. Then another said, we already told them that they didn't know anything, and nobody's seen anything. And some woman's trying to make money off of this. We told her, cut it out. You arrested her, right, for being part of that gang. I went to go out to eat with my brother. I stopped at a gas station. Some kids are in there. We're all supposed to stay out of it. They found out some gang's doing it to her. And some woman wants to claim that she's part of a human trafficking gang. You don't ever want to put your name in this. It's going to be life in federal, if not execution, for being accessory to these to murder, and for human trafficking these people and using the case as a scam. They already know Will stole the money. They know from the case that was meant for my care. They know that Dave knew him before the case. Dave was dating his daughter. He's the one that told on me to Apostolic Church of Barberton before I called him back. They know all kinds of stuff on him. I'm just one of their victims they left alive for people to show up in torment because they don't have enough IQ to turn them in and everything they got on these people to get them arrested. They're that stupid around me. Do you realize what a sitting judge would do to these people? They wouldn't leave a courtroom without handcuffs. I'm going to go ahead and upload this.